All right. Hey everyone, this is Matthew, and I will be going over how to basically complete your website using VS Code. Again, this is for EF230. All right, so basically, I'm going to assume that you've read through most of the website learning page for this and that you are ready to make your website. So of course, you should have already done this where you've kind of created your website through OIT, and you can check if it is created by going down to this step 5 and then clicking on this link. It should have your user ID here. If you open that up, you should get something that looks like this, or exactly like this. This is sort of just, a beginning web page that you have to manually go and edit. Um, so how do you do that? So first of all, I would go ahead and grab a template. If you didn't like the way this looked, um, you could always grab, for instance, one of these templates, right? And so how do you actually begin to edit this, right? Since this is on, the internet, how do you get this code and actually go about editing it? Well, first, you have to hit Save As. So you're going to right click and hit Save As anywhere on the web page. And then you definitely want to make a web folder called My Website, probably in Documents or somewhere that you can find it. And you also don't want to have spaces. You want to have it just one word or my and then underscore website. Uh, and then you can say, let's say, rename it my website or your name or something, as long as it doesn't have spaces in it. Let's hit save. Yep. All right, so that's saved. We could always navigate to that folder here, so my website. And if we open that up, you'll see that it's the exact same website, but it's actually not referencing something on the internet, like an address on the internet. It's actually pointing to a folder or file in your actual computer. All right, so how do you go about editing this? So this is where I would recommend that you download VS Code. And if you go here, you can download it for Windows or for Mac if you have a Mac. Go ahead through that install process. It's pretty easy. And once that is done, you can always go here and click New Window. Let's go ahead and exit that. All right, so this is what you should have when you open up VS Code. Mine will probably look a little bit different. You might not have some stuff here and some stuff here. Don't worry about that. The things that you're going to want to do first are go to the Extensions tab, and you're going to want to search up HTML, and you're going to want to download the HTML SCC support. You can just click the install here, and you're going to want to download the HTML preview. Just click. And the other package, remote, um, I would suggest you probably just go ahead and download this, the remote development. Let's see, what's this? Remote. Yeah, you can go ahead and download the Remote Explorer. Um, and that should be for SSH and connection socket tunnels. Um, yeah, so just make sure you have those three things installed or enabled, and they might need to restart VS Code. So just go ahead and do that, and if uh, you've already done that, then you're ready for the next part. So go ahead and go to this Explorer with the two files here. The icon might be different, but basically Explorer tab, and you're going to want to open up a new folder. I'm going to navigate to that place where I saved my website, and I'm going to hit select folder. You don't want to go into this folder. You just want to be on the outside folder. Um, but it'll probably be called something like my website underscore files. These are all the files that downloaded with the website that is needed to actually display this. So if we look at this, you'll see that this is indeed HTML code that you can edit from here. There's a preview button right here. Unfortunately, some of the things don't work. Like if I click right here, will it actually take me to... No, it just takes me to a random place. But I'll show you how it's supposed to work. But essentially, I can open up the preview again. Let's say I wanted to change, let's see, relevant coursework, right? That will actually display over here where that's supposed to be, right? So I can actually go ahead and change this. Let's say my relevant course work. And there's probably even a spell checker here. Spelling suggestions, relevant, sure. All right, so now that that's changed, you can see it's changed over here. I wish that the click, oh, it does. Okay, so when I click over here, it'll actually take me to that line that I need to change. Same thing, I could click over here and it would say where that is. You see this little like blue line? That'll tell you where something is and what it affects kind of in the template. So that's good. So let's say you're making all your edits. Oh, one thing I probably need to show. So for instance, like this is a picture, right? And so let's say you wanted to change this out. You know, you input a new picture here, like my pic 2 or my dog or something, whatever. You want to always reference things by a dot slash first, and that will make sure that you're just starting on this like folder essentially. And the nice thing about VS Code is that it'll actually prompt you for the next inputs, you know, kind of leading to there. So you could always go my website files and then my picture. Of course, that's what we had before, but yeah. And so you can always just upload things. You can probably put it in, you know, this folder and then just, you know, do that thing I just showed you and just make sure that that's, you know, the new name. Or you could just, you know, edit this part and make sure that, you know, what you're typing is correct. If you don't see it like autocomplete, like you see how I hit S and like it said, do you want that? If you don't see that like for what you're typing in, it might not exist. And so that lets you know right offhand if, you know, something is wrong. What was it? My pick? Yeah. Um, all right. And then when you need to save it, you'll see over here, there'll be a little dot. You can just hit Control S on Windows or Command S on Mac, and that'll save it. It'll get rid of that dot. And yeah, so let's say you've made the changes, you've looked here, everything's all good. Um, Again, if you don't see the pictures here or something's missing, you've probably not done this correctly, or you have like spaces in your name. Again, that's why I said you shouldn't have spaces in your name, or you should have underscores if you still want, you know, the visual of space, because that'll break all of these links on certain things like Linux and Windows or pulling them up on VS Code. But anyway, um, yeah. So let's say you're done, you've made all your changes. So let's say, let me actually go and hit open folder. So I'll show you mine. Um, yeah, and this is what I have, and let's look at the preview. So this is what I have. So I kind of have a little bit of a different, I can kind of pull this. So this might be what your website looks, you know, on mobile if you kind of squish it. And if you are on desktop, this will be what it probably looks like. But let's say, you know, I've done a lot of editing. This is what my final website needs to look like, right? Um, Actually, let me show you because I kind of need to do it. Um, let's hit cut and let's go into here, and let's just paste that. So I'm kind of wanting to add a link to my CV here, right? So if I go here and I go to this button right now, it doesn't actually take me anywhere. It just takes me back to the top of the page. So I can, oops, let me open up that preview. Sorry, I'm doing so much. Trying to make it as short as possible. Uh, if I, there's no way to really, um, I can kind of hit Control F or Command F on Mac and type in. So if there's a button, you might not be able to like double click it and have it take you to where it is in the script. And so what you can always do, this button is called Full Portfolio, so I can just hit Control F, input what I need, and you can already see it found it. And so this is where that button is. And you can even see it's like a class button, right? And the href is going to be basically the URL or uh, index, like for a file, um, for where you want this link to lead, right? So if I want it to lead here, um, I can do the dot slash, and you can see right here, it's um, my cover letter essentially. And now that should take me, well, that's not going to take me to the right place. But if I opened up this in an actual browser and I click this, it'll take me to, uh, my resume. All right, but if I look here and I refresh, this still isn't different. Well, why is that? And that's because we've been making changes on our local website, right? So if I go here, all of this stuff is here, right, on my actual computer. I need to be on the server, right? And so this is luckily where VS Code comes in again to kind of help. So how you do that is you want to go to Remote Explorer, and the first time that you open this up, you won't have anything here. In fact, let me go ahead and edit this and delete that. That way you'll see what I see. Hit refresh. And this is my server that I have at the university for my research, so don't worry about that. Yours will probably just be blank. So you're going to want to add a new remote with this plus button. And at this point, it'll ask you for what is your destination, right? So you're going to want to go back to the learning pages. You want to go navigate to transfer files, and you're going to want to scroll down a little bit, and you basically want to copy and paste this part. So it should have your user ID here, but then the rest of this would be the same. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to type in SSH, paste, hit enter. I'm going to click the top thing. It'll say host added. Perfect. I'm going to hit refresh again. And you should see your thing added now, but without these folders. That's because I've already connected to it before, but the first time you connect, you're going to have to click this button, connect in current window. It should say set up host. If you don't see this password prompt, you're just going to hit this details link, but my password is complicated, so I am going to actually go over here and copy my password. Hit paste, hit enter. All right, and at this point you'll have to hit this details again, and you can see kind of what the terminal is saying here. We input our password here, but now it's asking for a duo push. And so you can go out here, hit 1, and that will send you a duo push to your phone or however you have that set up. And once you've connected it, you should see a whole bunch of stuff basically go through and say you're connected. And the skit, don't worry about this. You can just hit exit. But now you're connected to the server. Now, unfortunately, you'll have to do that entire process again because now that we're connected, we're going to want to open up a folder. And you should see some folders here. You're going to want to make sure that you're in home, your user ID, and then public HTML. And then click OK. And it will ask you essentially to re-input your password and stuff again. So I'm going to do that quickly. I'm going to go down here and hit details. I'm going to hit 1 again so that it does the duo prompt. I'm going to hit accept. All right. And I can go ahead and close that once it's connected. Again, the first time you connect, it'll probably take like a minute or two, but once you've connected, it'll take that fast, right? Or as fast as I just did it. Anyway, so now you should see all of the stuff, kind of like how we had it on our local computer. You'll see all of this stuff, but all of this stuff is for our current web page that we have right here, and that's not really what we want, right? And so go ahead and open up VS Code like this and navigate to where you have your um, stuff. It might just be an index file and one folder of stuff, or you might have all of this stuff. Regardless, you just want to go basically grab all of it, throw it into there. You can just drag and drop. Um, let's hit no on that because okay, well, you know what? Yeah, I guess it's okay. I'm not going to need it. So let's just do that again. Sure, copy folders, replace, 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 blah, blah, blah. All right. So basically, that will upload all of the files that you just had in that folder to the website. And that should be it. The only thing is if your index file, so for instance, when we had our other index or website, right, this was called My Website. Um, you'll actually have to change this on the server to, let's just rename it here, in index.html. Yes. And so it has to be named that in order for the server to actually pick it up and put that as your index file for here. All right, so now that this is all here, it should have refreshed on the website. And there it is. And so that's essentially, and of course, if you needed to make small changes at this point, you could actually just do it directly from VS Code. So I could do the same things here. I could open up. The preview on the servers is a little bit messed up. You'll see it doesn't have any of the pictures. That's a little bit unfortunate, but you could always just check on the actual website, right? And if you needed to make small changes, right, your name or something is misspelled, looks like I had a space here. Just go ahead and hit save on that, and it will update on the server without you having to, drag stuff. But if you change things locally, of course, you'll have to redrag whatever you've changed, whatever files you've changed to here again. Um, Let me think. Is that about it? Let's see. I've gone over transferring files, template. Uh, yeah, I should have gone through. Again, if you want to save a template anywhere you find on the internet or through one of the templates here, you'll just right click and hit Save As, and you'll have to save it. Again, with no spaces, so this is not good. You'll have to not have that space. I think that's about it. And yeah, just if you're having trouble or you break things beyond like repair, you can always download this stuff, and it has basically all the server files that you should have on the server. And if you can't really figure that out, you can always ask a TA, and we can rebuild it for you. I think that is about it. So yeah. Oh, one thing I did probably need to mention is that if your extensions aren't working on the server, like once you use VS Code on the server, you might need to go back to the extensions. You see how it says these are installed on the server? Um, you might need to actually go down, find wherever you have those things um, listed here, and you see how like it says install on SSH blah blah blah. You'll have to click that for each of these, the HTML support and the preview, to actually get them to show up here. All right, I think that's about it, so I am going to call it there. Hopefully this project is helpful for you and useful. All right, see ya.